Hi guys, here we are with the third and final review from Wave 20 of Attack Wing. If you've read it on the blog already, you'll know that this is the Scorpion 4 fighter attack wing from Nemesis. So these are little Romulan fighters that were on board the Scimitar in Nemesis and stolen by Picard and Data to leave the ship. The detail on it is pretty poor. They are just literally little black lumps with a little gun on the top of them, as you can see. I'm afraid because of the size of them, you can't, and the colour of them, you can't really get a really good look at them. But the hull detail is okay. It's just they're incredibly small, and on camera you can't really get a good look at them unless I can try and get the light to shine. But it's just an absolute. There we go. That's better. So you can get a bit of a good look there. So they are pretty nicely detailed on the hull, but because they're black, you just don't see any of that kind of hull lining that you get in there. But yeah, they're okay. As you can see with the squadron, because this is a third fighter wing that they've released into retail. They've had the Federation fighters, the Hideki fighters from the Cardassian/Dominion faction, and these are the first ones, the only ones from the Romulan Empire that we've had. So they've got a forward firing arc on there. The attack and defence are dependent on how many of these have been destroyed. Plus, they've got a hull and a shield value of 1. So I'm going to kind of show you the dynamic that comes into play with the shuttle, with these as different ships. So as we can see, the card itself is devoid of the usual stats. It is the standard kind of card, the attack squadron. This is the unique version, so you can have 3 fighter upgrades with this. As you can see there, the 3 fighter emblems, 1, 2, 3. 24 points to bias for your fleet. Evade and target lock as standard options. And they start off with 5 tokens, as we'll show you in a second. If you attack during a round in which you performed an come about maneuver, during the modify attack dice step, you can re-roll blank results. That's really different, is that you can use that come about maneuver to really benefit you. Usually it's something that you end up getting an auxiliary power token on because you've had to use that maneuver. So the way that you start off with your fighter squadrons is that you place your stack of tokens on there. As you can see, they have a number on them. So they start off with a captain skill of 6. There is actually no captain with these. So you, instead of having a captain's emblem on your ships, on the bottom of the stand you actually put this little Romulan Star Empire token. So you have 2 of those. They start off with a captain skill of 6, attack with a 4, no defense, 1 hull and 1 shield. And as they are destroyed, so if they got attacked and that somebody just managed to get rid of the hull and the shield, you then flip your top token over. As you can see, the hull value drops, the attack value drops down to a 3, and the captain skill drops down to a 5. So as they get worn down in battle, the wing actually becomes earlier in the movement but later in the attacking. So you can see it goes down to 4, where you actually get a single defense dice in there. You still your hull and shield at 1. You've got an attack of 3. Go down to 3. You now have a 2 attack and a 2 defense, but your hull and shield still remain the same. And then if you go down to your 2, you actually end up with 3 defense dice, 2 attack. So it's harder to get rid of them the further down you go. But that's how they differ, is that you're using these little tokens as the ships develop. So you start off with 6, and as you can see, you end up with a 2 and a 3. You start off with a 4 for your attack and no defense, and then you gradually end up working down to where we've got quite a lot of defense and no attack. If you are using them as the generic version, you actually take the 6s off, you drop it down to a 5, and this becomes your generic version of the ships. So you do lose one of your upgrades, 20 points. You've still got your evade and your target lock and no unique action. And you start off with a captain skill of 5 rather than starting off with a captain skill of 6. As we were talking about on the movement side, they're not particularly quick, but they do have a full range of maneuvers at 2 and 3. As you can see with 3, that come about does have the auxiliary power token, but look at the range 2, you don't. You can do a come about with incurring no penalty. Only at 3 you're going to get any of those penalties on your reds at your 90-degree turns, and you come about at 1 and 2 you're pretty much free to do what you want. You're also getting green manoeuvres at range 1, but not a massive amount of speed, but you are going to be able to sort of flex about with what you do and where they go within that sort of close range, because you'll probably be using these fighters to attack larger ships within the game, rather than kind of spending them off and spin them off into other areas of the territory. Okay, so the only upgrades you do get with this, and you do get your sort of additional rules as well, just to give you an idea of what happens with the attack squadron tokens and the attack squadron upgrade cards. That is included with the pack, as is the old usual time tokens and that continuous effect token as well, and permanent effect tokens. So that's all included in there. But what we do get is we get a couple of lower priced upgrades, and then a lot of 4s with this pack. So the 2 lower priced ones we get reconnaissance, which allows you to place a scan token and an auxiliary power token beside your ship. So you're getting scan effectively added as your to your actions. Not a discard, not a disable. You can just use that as much as you want, but you are going to incur the auxiliary power token. So nice that you've got the option there to do your scans, but it's going to come at the cost of having to add 2 points onto your ship, so it becomes a 20. I think it becomes a 26 point ship effectively if you were looking at using that as a standard. If you're looking at having scan as a standard option. So thrusters is your other option that comes in at 3 points. During activation phase, if your ship is not cloaked and you reveal a green manoeuvre on your manoeuvre dial, you may discard this card to add 1 to your manoeuvre speed. So as you can remember, your manoeuvres at green are at 1 and 2, so you could effectively go up to a 3 if you're using a 2. I'm not sure how much of a benefit that's going to be, because you don't show your manoeuvres anyway, so you might as well just have put a 3 on there. But I guess if you're looking to remove an auxiliary power token from a manoeuvre, or something you've incurred as a penalty from another fleet member or an member of the opposition, then yeah, having that 2 to get rid of it and then being able to bunk it up to a 3 does help in that instance. Then you've got a range of 4s and a couple of 5s. So we have 4 upgrades. The first of those is support ship. When your last attack squadron token is destroyed, discard the card instead of removing that token. So you've got an extra life. Whether you've got 5, you start off with a captain skill of 5, or you start off with a captain skill of 6. This means effectively you're giving yourself another token. At the end of it, it is like a free life. So for 4 points, that's probably worth doing. It means that you are going to have another chance to use that final token. If you remember what the final token is, it comes in at the, there you go, it's the 2 attack, 3 defense, 1 hull, 1 shield with captain skill of 2. So you get an extra go at using that one before you get obliterated. Can't have more than 2, not a surprise. It is a discard, not a shocker on there either, but this means you are going to get a stay of execution, I think, with your fighter squadrons. Next up, you've got cover fire. When defending during the rough all defense dice, you can discard this card to add a number of defense dice to your roll equal to the number of your primary weapon value. So that's going to fluctuate depending on where you are in the game as well, because you're going to start off with a 4, you're going to end up going down to a 2. So that is going to be effective. Remember that your higher weapons, so you're going to use this probably earlier in the game, because your higher weapon value, you don't have any defense dice, and later on you're going to be having at least sort of 3, but that could mean that you end up rolling, up to, you can go up to basically 5 defense dice, which would be kind of ridiculous, but it is going to help you survive a bit longer. I think you'll be using this earlier in the game, while you've got your sort of your larger number of dice and no defense against anything. Then we have cloaked fighters. Surprise, surprise, a Romulan ship that has a cloaking device. So you can add the cloaking action to your action bar. 4 points, understandably quite high, because it will increase that number of defense dice against the ship as well, as we know from the game, from the starter pack and from onwards. While your squadron is cloaked, you can't perform a maneuver greater than 1, which is a nice way of kind of reducing the effectiveness of it. So you are going to be able to defend more, but you aren't going to be able to move as well. This upgrade can only be purchased for the Scorpion fighter class attack squadron, and no ship can have more than 2. We knew, I think, with it being Romulan, it's great that you've got the cloak in there. This makes these guys a nightmare to probably get rid of during the game, because they're going to have that higher defense roll. I think you said that you add an additional 4 dice from memory to your defense. So if you think these guys are going to be cloaked pretty much from the start of the game, you may see these lasting quite a long time because of that cloaking feature, combined with a lot of the other things you've got in there, particularly if you're going to be re-rolling attack dice and adding attack dice on as well. It's going to make them stick around for a long time during the game. So really like that, really like the addition in there. You also get torpedo attack, which is a 4 instead of a 5, as you would see on the larger ships. Range 1 to 2, so the range is reduced from 2 to 3 to 1 to 2. Cost of 4, standard really, target lock, time tokens. Can fire it from your forward or rear firing arcs. Of course, with the Scorpion fighters, I've only got a forward arc, and you're firing 4. So this is going to be something you're going to be using later in the game, because if you remember, you start off with a 4 anyway on your weapons. So by the time you get down to the end of the game where you're playing with sort of 2 dice for your attack, you're going to be looking at increasing that and using the 4 and disabling this to use your torpedo attack and still maintain the large number of dice that you've got earlier from the game. So really these are all going to be effective only on this pack and only on the fighters that you've got here, but there are a lot of things that are going to make it a very, very hard to defeat set of ships. Going up 1 more point to 5 points for focus strike. If you damage an opposing ship's hull with critical damage, you can discard the card to draw 3 damage cards instead of 1. You choose which one to place beside the enemy ship's card and discard the unused damage card. So this is a cracking one. You're going to be able to decide what damage you get. So you pick 3 from the top of your pack. It doesn't actually say if you can just pick 3 at random, which, you know, supposedly you could. So you pick 3 cards. It'd be brilliant if one of those is a warp core breach, because that's going to really, really screw the people up. But it's nice that you've got that sort of bit of more of a chance to do a lot of damage to opponents. Be great to be able to use this, particularly again during those later stages where you are reduced in the number of attack dice, to maybe do that sort of final killer hit on your opposition. So a nice little card in there. I mean, to be honest, all these cards that are within the fighter squadron pack seem to be pretty effective and really do give you something that you'd want to be using within your fleet. Final card is Hidden Formation. So you add the Sensor Echo to your action bar. So when performing the Sensor Echo action, you can only use the 1 maneuver template. If your squadron's cloaked after performing a Sensor Echo action, you can discard this card to immediately perform an additional one as a free action. If you do so, you place an auxiliary power token. So no surprise that if you do another one, you get an auxiliary power token. If you're cloaked, you can do another one, but you are going to discard it. You can effectively add Sensor Echo and Cloak to your ships. It's going to cost you, if you include Cloak as well, you're looking at a 9-point increase, because the cloaking is a 4.1. There we go, I just have to find it back again. So it's 4 points for your cloak, then 5 for your Sensor Echo, but it's going to make you a lot more manoeuvrable. And also a lot more defensible, because you're going to be able to take yourself out of the line of fire. I think this makes these guys a must if you're playing Romulans, because of the flexibility that they bring into the game and they bring into the Romulan fleet, because there's nothing else that the Romulans have got like this. Fighter squadrons are very popular anyway because they have a lot of advantages, because of their manoeuvrability, because of the options that are unique to them as well. So I don't see why you would not have a Romulan fleet without these being on board. Finally, your mission, and it's a first, I think, or a very rare opportunity that they've taken to basically create their own mission. So it's not based on an episode, it's called Advanced Assault, and it's set during the Dominion War. It sees the Romulans taking on the Dominion in a 2-player format. So you have 180 points with 3 Jem'Hadar attack ships and 120 points including 1 Scorpion class attack squadron and another Romulan ship here at the bottom. And it's basically the opportunity for the Romulans to place 4 mission tokens on the planet to win the game, or the Dominion player to destroy the Romulan ships before they manage to deploy the troops, which are your mission tokens, onto the planetoid. So it's a nice bit of a change, a good way of including the Scorpion class ships, because you couldn't really use them from the scenario that they were used in Nemesis, because it was inside the ship and they only went inside the ship and then got back to the Enterprise. So there was nothing really you could do with that. So it's nice to see a bit of a different one there. I don't actually have a lot of Jem'Hadar stuff, so I might have to increase my fleet before I start looking at doing that. So yeah, a pretty nice little pack, really different, haven't seen fighters for a while. I'll try and get them back in focus if I can. I probably won't be able to. So there you go. That's the Scorpion attack fighter squadron from Nemesis. Great little addition. Model's rubbish, but the pack itself is fantastic and really does give you some great options for your Romulan fleet. Particularly if you've not really used fighters before, which I haven't, and this has really kind of opened my eyes to look at getting the Federation ones at the very least, and we'll go from there. Okay, so next up we will have Wave 21, that'll be coming shortly, and I might also pop in a few of the other ships I've got. There is a Deep Space Nine review that I'm kind of wondering how I'm going to do, because it is massive, and I got that very recently, so we're going to look at doing that very soon as well, because I think that's just one that I'd be stupid to avoid. Anyway, until then, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to subscribe, click the links you've seen during the video or go to my channel, and we'll see you soon.
Transfer complete.